All right, we're going to hop right in here and take a look at this week's topic, which is developing and exploring a focused topic, generating ideas, conceptualizing those ideas, organizing them in your mind, in other words, and determining a logical structure, order, and outline. In other words, this will be bridging the gap between the ideas that exist in your mind and how they're translated into a format that can be encoded, decoded, and easily understood by the reader. On the agenda, administrative updates and attendance. The first two videos you should have already watched covered those things. If you haven't already, take a look at both of those videos. We're going to take a look at a quick note regarding APA and document formatting. Then we're going to go through some slides. I'll try to do this very quickly on the main topic that I just mentioned. Then we'll take a look at in-class writing 8 and 9, and then there will be a reading assignment. Today's material is intended to help get you where you need to be and to start thinking about planning, organizational structure, if you haven't already, for the upcoming first major paper, the contextual analysis. The first thing I want to talk about is document formatting and APA. As I'm grading some of the in-class writing assignments, I'm noticing that there are oftentimes one or two pieces of formatting that's missing. I want to make sure that everyone is aware that for your document to be considered in proper APA format, every single element of the document formatting is a non-negotiable, meaning that it must be done correctly. If you miss just one element, for instance, if your page number is in Calibri instead of Times New Roman font, your document is not in correct APA format. If your two headers are different, if your headers in your document are not in all caps, if the titles are different, if your margins are not at 1 inch all around, if your line spacing and your paragraph spacing is not correct, your document is not considered an APA format. It's all or nothing. What you'll notice is that your major papers and all documents that you should be submitting all require that they be in proper APA format, meaning all of these elements have to be correct. Make sure that you are taking every effort to ensure you're checking every box with the formatting. If you have questions or need some more step-by-step instructions regarding how to do that, take a look at the Formatting Your Documents video in Canvas from earlier in the semester. I'll walk you step-by-step through how to do this. Things like maneuvering your headers, having a different header on your cover page so that you don't include a page number on the cover page. It's an implied page 1. Your page number should start on your content page, page 2, starting with the numeral 2, but your cover page is an implied page 1. Things like that. And it can be tricky to maneuver your headers and to tab and insert page numbers and whatnot. So I'll walk you through some of that in that particular Formatting Your Documents video. Make sure you're taking a look at that. I don't want anyone to lose points moving forward because they are missing small things or making small mistakes that can be easily corrected by just understanding the process. Watch the video, make sure you know how to do it, practice on your own documents. Please, please, please do not submit your contextual essay, the first essay, with a single element of that formatting out of place. I will not accept the paper. I will immediately return it back to you. I may or may not accept it for credit. One of the minimum requirements for that major paper is to make sure that every element of formatting is adhered to. So I just want to point that out. Let's go ahead and jump in. I've already provided provided an example of the classical essay format, what you all are probably used to seeing from high school and maybe other college classes. The general format of introduction, main point A, B, C, conclusion. That is reflective of expository writing. So essay is just that. It's a relatively short piece of nonfiction prose that explores an idea or topic, typically broken down into ideas or topics that can be subdivided or explored. The format is typically vague. It depends on response to three elements, overarching elements. I want to make another point that when you start engaging in the analysis of college level topics or higher level dynamic topics, they become inherently complex. There are many variables, there are many directions and relationships that become apparent when you start observing certain phenomenon or things that exist in the world that you may be studying or examining. And so it's really important to make sure that you are conceptualizing and focusing that idea down into something that is manageable, to something that is not super vague, something that could not result in over 100 pages being written because the domain or the topic in itself is too vague for the task at hand. So we want to make sure we are engaging and focusing our idea, but also thinking through the essay format. Essay is expository writing. It's intended to inform. Research writing is considered expository writing. An essay falls in the scope of expository writing in itself. And so all of the ideas that you are extracting and integrating into your writing are intended to inform in some way, but still need to be organized and still need to be logical based on the topic, based on your audience, etc. So the format is vague. The way you order your ideas, the way that you decide to approach each idea is up to you. You have the autonomy. You have the ultimate say in how to do this. The three most important aspects of being an academic writer and approaching a project such as this is to look at the overarching components of any academic writing piece. The first of which is purpose. What are you being asked to do? What are your tangible purposes? But what are some of the subtextual purposes? What are some of the other things that you're being asked to do that's a little bit outside of the box? What is the context? What are some contextual factors that affect that piece of writing? And then most importantly, who is the audience? Can you break the audience down? Can you segment the audience? What are the demographics of the audience? What are their needs? What are they likely to believe? What are their likely affiliations and biases? And by starting any type of academic writing project, by keeping these things in mind, it helps to center yourself and it helps to dictate how your material should be outlined, how your material should be ordered, how you transition between ideas, the types of vocabulary you use, the types of examples you use, the type of dominant impression that you leave with the reader. All of that is contingent upon these three things. These are ideas that I just mentioned: expository writing and the classical model. Introduction, wherein you are providing all of the essential context details. What does the reader need to know to set the scene for your main point or for the main idea or your thesis? You're also going to include your explicit thesis statement, which means your outright thesis statement in your introductory section. It's important to note that introductions are not just a paragraph. It depends upon the scope of your project. Dissertations sometimes have tens of pages of introductory paragraphs or sections. It depends on the scope and, again, the purpose of your work. For the first contextual essay, I would say that 1 to 2 paragraphs would be a sufficient introduction section for this type of project. We need the context details. We need you to provide all of the essential details so that the audience can understand where you're coming from, understand the topic. This is where you define certain ideas. This is where you engage the reader and catch them up in the academic conversation, wherever it may be. And then you have your body paragraphs or your content, which is main point A, main point B, main point C. These are your 3 main sections that reflect the 3 main ideas that you're going to be covering. And then finally, you have your conclusion, wherein you restate your thesis statement in some way, which means you circle back around to the importance or the implications of main points A, B, and C. And then you leave the reader thinking about something in a thought-provoking way. The best way to do that is to translate your ideas into real-world practice. How do these ideas really impact real-world scenarios, real-world people, disciplines, etc.?